and welcome everybody, one and all, to the Chaos Protocol. I am so freaking excited to see all of your digital, non-existent faces in the chat of Transplanar RPG. We are an all transgender, people of color-led, dark fantasy, actual play channel, telling stories set in an original, non-colonial, anti-orientalist multiverse. This means we stand against genocide and ethnic cleansing, and support all oppressed peoples of this world struggling against injustice, imperialism, and colonization. We must use our voices to build solidarity and fight for the worlds we wish to see. So to that end, free Sudan, free DRC, free Palestine, free Venezuela, free Iran, and fuck US imperialism. As a channel created in Minneapolis, Minnesota, we stand in solidarity with our neighbors protesting in the streets now and forever. Abolish ICE until there is nothing left. Abolish the Imperial Project until there is nothing left. Free all oppressed peoples of this world. Thank you. And thank you all so much for showing up to support our story. Now, let's get chaotic. If you're watching this right now, you are witnessing the live recordings of Arc 4 episodes 15 and 16, aka the midpoint of Arc 4. What? Can you believe it? We are currently co-streaming on Twitch and YouTube live at Transplanar RPG, and all VODs will be hosted on our YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure shortly thereafter, before being uploaded to Vimeo and the Internet Archive. But first, please allow me to reintroduce my fantabulous cast for the evening, starting with our very own valiant, does love win, Dorian.
I don't know, Connie. You let me know. Hi, everyone. I'm Valiant Dorian. I use he, him, his pronouns. You can find me all across the internet at Valiant Dorian or at Also Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure I just set you on. And tonight, I have the distinct pleasure of playing Sayer, who uses he, they pronouns. And I'm gonna pass it on over to the Ghost of Kiseki. How are you doing, Ghost of Kiseki?
We're doing so good. Hello, everyone. I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns, and I am back tonight playing Mr. Zanin Esh, the ghost of Keseki, who uses he, him pronouns. And I'm going to bounce on over to our singular, wonderful chronologist who's never done anything wrong. Sam?
You're correct. Hi, I'm Samstar. I use she, they, and the occasional they pronouns, and tonight I have the lovely pleasure of playing the singular brain cell in the perfect BB who has never done anything wrong in her life, Lumira, who uses she, her pronouns. What's going on, boss?
It's a me, boss. So to start off our announcements, a very big, massive thank you to our two major sponsors for Arc 4, Hero Forge and the Working Families Party. Hero Forge is a website where you can design and print your very own custom miniatures. I love showing this off. Just like this one. Woo woo! The person, object weapon thing looking over Arc 4 and the entirety rest of the series. Hero Forge also now offers 3D printed custom dice, which means you can put anything that you might design in Hero Forge into the clear material of the die and still get a perfectly weighted chunk of math rock. So visit Hero Forge today at bit.ly/transforge. Even if you're just window shopping, clicking on that link helps us a lot because it shows our sponsors that our audience cares about supporting our show, and that would be amazing. Speaking of supporting our show, the Working Families Party. They are a progressive third party in the US, building a multiracial coalition of working class people to make our communities a better place to live in for everyone. You can take an action right now to affect change by signing their petition to break up big media companies and join their mailing list at bit.ly/WFPtrans. I'm just gonna say right now, even if you're not US based, just signing up for their mailing list helps you stay abreast of what's happening in the US in local communities. So if you're interested in staying plugged in, that might be something that you might want to investigate and look into. And finally, a big ol' thank you to Chepeku for letting us use their scenes for this arc, as well as a thank you to Explain Trade and Frivolous Bear Studios for being our channel-wide sponsors. Over to you, Val.
Alright, folks, you know what this is. Fans of Transplanar, you will be pleased to discover that we have a merch store full of apparel, home goods, and accessories that have been gorgeously designed by, as we know, let's do this again, my husband. Thank you very much. And you can purchase these by going to transplanarrpg.shop or using !merch in chat. We're also very excited to share that, we have partnered with Die Hard Dice to bring you 4 custom dice sets themed after each member of Strike Team Nova. Head on over to bit.ly/transdhd or use !DHD in chat to nab your own very own set of Chaos Dice. Why don't you grab a set of the Omen Speaker, the Chronologist, and the Ghost of Kiseki? I'm sure nothing will go wrong and you'll only roll great things at your table. Passing it over to Kai.
At least you roll funny things, if nothing else. Hello, everyone. Another huge thank you to our Patreon precepts for supporting our show. Thank you to Azra, Brooke, The Bow System, Elvira, Mainman13, Mark J, Necessity, Robert Burke, Rose, Sergeant Danes, Spectra, Spencer, Taylor, Travis L, and Zoe. Join their illustrious ranks and help us smash our member milestones at patreon.com/transplanarrpg. Now, Sam, tell us what happened.
Last time on the Chaos Protocol, Strike Team Nova bid their goodbyes to Sunrise and began a long trek towards Kiseki. Throughout their travels, Zynon explores his own undeath, Lumira avoids her feelings about vaulting by learning to shoot, and Sayir indulges his self-loathing by acting as his worst self. This culminates in a moment where he thoughtlessly barrels into a stranger standing behind Yinghe in the dead of night, killing them with his horns. And that's what you missed last time. Use !recap in chat to read our full written recap document. And now to Connie for some self-care tips, because they're going to be needed.
Thank you for that, Sam. Yes, they definitely are. So, the Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy actual play series that deals with content that may be triggering for some viewers. Content warnings for this session may include fantasy violence, grief, death of loved ones, killing, blood, body horror, complex relationships, survival and scarcity, environmental collapse, apocalypse, guns as weaponry, and references to classism and the loss of children. If you're in the Twitch chat, you can use !CW to get a look at our content warnings at any time. If you're in the YouTube live, our incredible mods will be copy and pasting these in the chat so you can stay current and up to date to what the content warnings are at any given time. And now, moving on to the title of tonight's episode. It is The Flesh Has Wounds. No Trust Will Follow. From Waiting for the Moon to Burn by Connie Chong. And with that out of the way, let's begin. The Chosen One is 15 years old when her brother kills something for the first time. Under the halcyon lights of Training Hall C, the Son of Doom stands over the corpse. Broken glass, shattered metal, tiny shards of silicone, copper, gemstone. It is scattered in 1,000 different pieces all across the arena. At Sayer's feet, the lens blinks for the final time, emitting a staggered sequence of multicolored lights that evoke the soul song of its mother. And then, before his very eyes, the lights dim. The engine goes quiet, and the training oracle dies. Like everyone else in the Syndicate, you had always known that the oracles were not, strictly speaking, autonomous, but they were alive, in the same way that trees were, or the grass that kissed your feet. They weren't people, but they were something. It wasn't until now that you realized how heavy that something could be. How dense its absence was. How easy it had been to destroy. The body of the Oracle is broken and still. The body of the stranger is broken and still, and next to you, in the horrible silence that follows, she arrives. For when something in the Syndicate dies, the Saints are drawn to it like a moth to flame. There is a kind of watchful patience in their face, watching you fume, watching you struggle, watching the sweat and rage and frustration and fear. knowing that she cannot change you, knowing that she cannot change this, that they can lead a burning man to a sacred pool, but they cannot make him bathe. And Artemis says,
What happened?
I heard it. I broke it. What have I done? What have I done?
Artemis sees you there. She sees you, 15, still training. She sees you now. What does she see? Looking down at you with those mismatched eyes.
She sees a man bathed in blood, head to toe, antlers covered in gore, shaking dull blue eyes, vibrating the same, no, worse fear than he did the first time. But the words are the same. This is the same boy, just more broken, more scar tissue on his heart, and the one who has nailed his final piece in the coffin of his self-loathing.
It was an accident. She asks it like a question, not an observation. She wants you to answer.
No. I ran, I moved, I surged, and they broke under me. Broke in front of me.
Yes. Yes, they did. And Artemis looks down, taking the eyes off of you. And they look down at the oracle, meant for this, meant for training, shattered in 1,000 pieces across the floor. She looks down at the body, the stranger you may never know. And something around their eyes gets soft and sad. Always so sad. She looks back to you. She has another question. And in this moment, do you take pleasure in the feeling?
What? What? No. No.
Good.
No,
Good. You must remember it. What you feel. Because it cannot be fixed. And Artemis leans down. Even crouching at 15, she's nearly as tall as you are. And her hands skirt over the fragmented metal and copper and gems. Her hands skirt over the body on the ground, bleeding now.
I can't fix this. There's nothing I could do to make this right. Sayer says that splicing between the face of a clean-shaven young man to a bearded, emaciated, hungry, older man, eyes tired from weeks and weeks of struggle.
You cannot change this. Their hands go down, touch the body. Gentle hands skirting over where the heart would be, were it not punctured. Her hands skirting over the inner lens, were it not cracked. But remember, you can change this. And when she touches you, your forehead, her hands are cold, but bring so much warmth with them. And you can change this. And she touches your chest, right in the middle of your sternum, right above your heart. And you can change this. And her hands rest in your palm, covered in blood, fragmented with shattered pieces of prophecy, oracle. When you thrust your hands into the fire, they will be burnt, and it will leave a scar. This is the way of the world, and no amount of punishment or self-pity or shame will change that. But you must remember where the scars come from, or you risk burning yourself over and over and over again. I taught you this first, Sayer. We either choose who you want to be, or you die someone you never wanted to become.
Choose or die.
You choose, or you die. Do you remember?
I do now. So clearly.
I know. In the memory, it's at this point that she instructs you to take care to pick up every single piece and turns to where the other two saints have gathered by the door. But this time, she just stands, rests a hand on your shoulder, and looks you deep in the eyes. I taught you this first.
I know. I don't want to die the man I could become. I don't want this.
Good. This, too, is love.
Sayer, you are on Kesiki. You are covered in blood. Viscera dribbles from your antlers, wet and warm. Steam rises from your horns. You smell like life. You smell like death. The body of the stranger lies at your feet, unmoving. They are dressed in dusty clothes, a brown leather vest, stained shirt, coat, gloves, trousers, belt, boots. The impact had torn a respirator loose from their face, which dangles now around their neck, pressed into the cracked earth. Their skin is green, light green, the color of river algae, and pockmarked with abrasive scars from constant exposure to the dust. Their hair is short, deep emerald, tousled, both from the wind and from a natural thickness. There are pink crescent moon markings beneath their eyes, which are dark amber, sunken, glazed over. Ying He's hands are clasped over her mouth. His silver eyes are wide, shoulders are stiff, body drawn taut like a bowstring. A few flecks of blood, a stranger's blood, adorn their face as well, their torso. Zynon and Lumira, from your own separate tents, you had heard Ying He's shout of alarm, just like Sayer had. And depending on how quickly you had reacted in the moment, you either heard or saw, as you rush out of your tent, the resulting immediate commotion, the bellowing footsteps across dead earth, the sickening impact, the gasp, the silence. After Sayer's fatal decision, the rest of you must also act. Lumira, you reach for something as your eyes take in this bloody scene. What is it? And why do you do what you do?
She looks at Sayer. She looks them directly in their face. She can, even through all the viscera, see that same person that she always has known. The look on his face says everything right now. This is life-changing. And I think more than probably anybody else here, she knows what it's like to harm someone irreparably with the power that she wields. The power that she wields. I think briefly she looks at the rest of Nova before scrambling over to where her pocket watch is resting beside her. She's gonna turn the dial on it. Remember, even in the haze, in the midst of all of this, she remembers the lessons from the Drifter. Intent. The other lessons don't really register right now. They don't seem as important. The only thing that matters right now is her knowing and understanding, her innate instinct to protect him.
Lumira, you have always known the truth of Sayer's heart. The truth that has been so hard for even him to see, especially him to see, but has always been clear as day to you. That he, in this moment, covered in blood over the still and unmoving body of a stranger, he was capable of this. Has always been capable of this. The power that dwells in him. The power that dwells in you. And you know intimately, viscerally, what this version of events, what this timeline, if allowed to trudge forward, will do to him. He will have to live with this forever. And so, you spring into action because how could you not? How do you reach into yourself and attempt to vault?
I try to place myself in this exact spot that I'm sitting in right now. Just maybe 30 minutes prior.
Okay. 30 minutes. Gripping your pocket watch, drawing on the power that dwells dormant and alive inside your soul, you try to summon and conjure that feeling, that technique that the Drifter had shown you. And it comes. The first sign is everything around you slowing down and then moving backward. You see flakes of dust in front of you, reversing motion, and then color so fast bleeds around you with such a quickness that a actual wind zephyr force blows across your body. You are the only still object in a world, a time, a space that distorts around the power inside your soul. And you find yourself, when everything comes back to a still, not standing outside your tent, but inside your tent, your legs starting to wobble beneath you as the canvas above your head pries downward into the crown of your skull. You're inside your tent and you hear something outside, a shout of alarm from Yinghe, bellowing footsteps over the ground, impact, a gasp, and a thud.
No. Okay. 30 minutes wasn't enough. 31. We have to be precise about this. Come on, Lumira, you can do it. I
You try it again. Lumira, you try it again. Color and sound, tension and sensation bleeding together, stretching like a wormhole around you. You are outside your tent, this time just in time to see the horns going through the back of the stranger's body, piercing their heart, lifted up into the air and then dropped onto the ground. Yinghe gasps.
All right. Absolutely not. Again.
You try it again, Lumira, and this time as you draw on the power around you, your fingers tightening around that pocket watch in your hand, you feel something above your head. This does not move even as everything around you moves, distending the black hole. And the next time that you rubber band back into your vault, everything coming back to a standstill, you see Oblivion's eye hanging low and, yes, larger than it's ever been before, and you watch underneath it the stranger's body once again impaled on Sayur's horns before it gets dropped to the ground with a visceral thud. Yinghe gasps.
Okay. Lumira rubs her eyes almost desperately, trying to logic away that it's just her mind that's playing tricks on her right now.
But it's not, Lumira. You have tried once, you have tried twice, you have tried 3 times. Your own focus is starting to strain.
Then we try again.
Your bones feel like they're going to break. They're going to implode under the force of your own power. And all 3 times the result has been the same. Sayur kills the stranger. Sayur kills the stranger. Sayur kills the stranger. And he never makes a different choice. And now, on the heels of your 3rd attempt, you see where that ever-swirling shield of dust is not nearly thick enough to block her iris from your gaze. The black hole, seed of annihilation, event horizon of oblivion. No denying it now, no hiding from it, no shirking from it like you have been these past few weeks after the Drifter's lessons. Yes, it is bigger. It was the size of a large coin last you saw it, now the size of a dinner plate.
Oh no.
Your vision swims, blurs, your hearing hollows out around you like you're at the bottom of a well? No, a lagoon, a blue hole filled with life, giving water and reeds and fish, and you hear a fragment of a memory, a voice. Your mother's voice. Your other mother. It is a regal and resonant voice that you had forgotten until now. Confident, commanding, the kind of voice that makes you sit up straighter and pay attention even more than you already were. A voice that you want to make proud and would do anything to hear praise you. And Fola Shade Oluwole Ashinyobi, whom you had always just called Mom, says in a firm but loving tone, Ife, we cannot let fear control us. This, too, is a rebirth. We must look it in its face, even as it drips with blood. We must live with it in our hands, eyes and wings and teeth and all. How does your mother's voice sit within you? And what realization does it help you understand?
Rebirth. See, that's the thing about it. Most people think that with death is finality, the end. But it's not. It's just the beginning cycle of rebirth, of coming together again in another way throughout the tapestry. This is different, but it has to be. Birth, much like death, is hard. It's bloody. It's visceral. It's traumatic. But necessary. And once out on the other end, possibility, life, free will, and what you do with it. That is the most important key of all of this. From birth, from rebirth, whatever you want to call it, it is a cycle. A cycle with infinite loops and infinite ends. It is just a matter of becoming. And I think in that moment, those words from her mother are echoing in her ear, long since forgotten. This moment, much like Amaru for me, is the start of Sayir's rebirth. What we do with it from this point on is his decision alone. But that does not mean I cannot help. I can't guide. All any of us who wield infinite power need to know is intention. How to use it, how to wield it. How to respect it, but also make it work for us. So, in the midst of all of this, that is the truest point, the anchor, the hindrance on her here now. Sayir needs me just as much as I needed him to break my binds of fate. It would be a slap in the face to him if I did not return that empathy, if I did not return that love, if I did not return that protection, that guidance. Sayir needs time. And lucky for him, I have a lot of it.
And it is with this understanding, this syzygy of memory, drive, and calling, sliding into place underneath the heavy, large, watchful eye of oblivion that feels so much in this moment like an open hand plucking a memory from her core and dropping it into your head, that you choose not to vault again.
No. He needs this. I remember the Oracle. It's just a cycle.
Zainan, you had heard the alarmed shout from Yinghe, the thundering footsteps over cracked earth, a terrible noise ripping flesh, cracking bone, a thump, a gasp. And outside of your tent, you see it all, the aftermath. Lumira as well, having stumbled out from her canvas flaps, looking. A terrible silence. How do you respond?
the sound of death and violence ring in his ears as he wakes up. Not unfamiliar on this world or any world that contains Zainin Esh. But unfamiliar doesn't mean welcome. And as he runs forward, rifle in hand, barely dressed enough, he just crawled inside of the tent, took his hat off, took his pack off, and fell close to the edge of sleep. And with that same hunter agility that he roused from his sleep in the cave with the cave skipper, he jumps to his feet, rifle in hand. And the first thing he sees is not a monster, or is it? Covered in blood, antlers glistening under the dusty lights of home. A deep, burning ember flares. As yes, Zainin is in a world that hates him. But in this moment he sees another world inside of Seir that hates the person who lives in it. And he runs forward, not looking at Seir, shoving down that ember that burns. It rises in his throat. It threatens to snap at Seir. But then he sees Yinghe's face in the cave. And he will not be a quick draw today. He goes to the person who is still bleeding on the ground, desperate, looking for a pulse, looking for who this person is, why they are here.
The stranger underneath your observation is not moving. They are completely still.
Come on.
There are holes in their torso, their gut, one in their sternum, large and oozing and red. Blood pools beneath them, bright, wet, crimson. It's the closest thing to water in this wasted canyon. You already know, even as you check for a pulse, even as you bring your ear toward their nose and try to detect signs of breathing, that they are dead. Actually, a part of you knew it before they even hit the ground. You do see a weapon, a revolver on their hip, in a makeshift holster that they'd strung together with hempen rope. But you see the jammed trigger, and even without checking it, you suspect there are no bullets.
And as a fire begins to burn inside of his throat, wanting to rage out of it, he takes the revolver, doesn't even try and open it, tosses it to the side, because at least the revolver is a reminder that this person might not have been alone, and Seir might have just made an even bigger mistake than killing the first person we saw on my home. And Zainin brings his rifle up, turns his back on Seir, and is going to go check the perimeter to make sure that we're not in even more danger now. Because the cave skipper was alone. That song had no answer, but this one might.
Wordlessly suppressing that ember that glows and claws at the bottom of your throat with all of your strength, you do not look at Seir, and you go to check the perimeter. And Seir, Zainin, breezes past you. You see the set of his jaw, the burning in his eyes, the way his grip clenches around the holster of that rifle. You see the look on Lumira's face at you, kind of piercing understanding, a deep well of sorrow. And you see the look on Yinghe's face, hands clasped over nose and mouth, eyes wide, silver, staring at the limp body at your feet. Horror. How do you take this moment in? This moment after the storm of your own actions?
He feels it now still. Like Damocles' blade above him. How he'd long for it to fall. How he'd rather fall on it. On the blades of his projections of everyone's reactions. Not tonight. As I feel the stranger's blood warming my cheek, hurting and stinging my eyes. I hold it. I watch. I see as a Sinan who'd want nothing more than to snap his jaws onto my jugular, but doesn't. An anger, well placed anger. I killed the first person we saw in his home. I see Lumira look upon me with great understanding and pained expression, this level of empathy that I know we harbor for each other. But I see it. The acknowledgement of a cycle I just repeated. A lesson I have forgotten. And Yinka. Of course she's devastated. I killed someone right before their eyes. It was like nothing to me. A snap, a squelch, and then there they are. Dead, a life snuffed out by the harbinger of doom. I don't... No. I'm not. I won't be that. I was. That is what I was. That is what I did. I won't be that anymore. You won't be that anymore. This will hurt you, little hunter. This hurt us, little hunter. A snapping of control that unleashed, like a wick surrendering to a candle's flame you surrendered. I know, little hunter. The quarry you never intended, that I never intended. And this is a moment, this is a weight that's going to live in your heart for the rest of your life, and I will not take that from you. There will be days where all you want is to fall upon that same blade of self-loathing, but you need to remember, you need to hold this moment. Hold this moment. Breathe through this moment. It is important. For where you will go, for what you will become, you will get to choose it right here and right now this night. I'm so sorry. But you must. Nay, it is your responsibility to hold all of this. Every single thing. every reaction, for it is what you have wrought, the price you have and will continue to pay.
This is the first time, but it will not be the last in your life, Seer, that you hold the blade that you have fashioned yourself, the blade of self-hatred, the blade of despair. You hold it, and you do not point it at your heart. You do not impale yourself on it. You just hold it, as you had held the shattered pieces of the training oracle all those years ago. And in the silver moonlit gleam of that blade, you see the looks on everyone's faces around you. Lumira's, Zionan's, Yinghua's, Cove's, Amaru's, Artemis's. And in all those faces, now and then, shock, fear, anger, pain, sorrow. You see what you were unable to see, what you were not prepared to see, what you chose not to see. That these looks were not directed at you, were not speared toward you, your soul, who you are as a person, an indictment of your worth, but a response to your choices, to your actions, to the costs you brought on to yourself. This has always been the case. You just didn't allow yourself to hold it and see it until now. One expression in particular swims into deep focus for you, Yinghua. Finally, their silver eyes lift from the body where they had been paralyzed and frozen in time. Finally, they lift, and they look at you. Your gazes meet, and you see an understanding crystallizing in her eyes. She knows why this happened. He knows why you did it. For them? To protect them? A reactive response to the noise they had made, a cry of alarm. And now, the body, now the death, because of it. Because you see in their eyes, because of them, is what they think, is what they feel, is what they hold in their arms flecked with blood. A horror in their gaze, a terrible guilt and shame welling there, the same guilt and shame that you feel welling within you, that Yinghua cannot speak aloud. And then, they tear their eyes from you, and that gaze lands on Lumira. You see Yinghua's shoulders begin to shake, their hands tremble, their lungs heave, and then something clicks into place in their eyes, and they stumble past you, Seir, toward you, Lumira. And you see a person, a Yinghua, on the verge of panic, on the verge of losing it, losing everything. You see the desperation, naked and plain, on her face. And worse than that, the hope. Because if there's anyone who can make a miracle happen, it's you. And they, in their request, you hear it. And they say it. The thing they haven't been able to look at for weeks since it happened. The thing that has hung between you and them and Seir ever since the bloody tides of the Crimson River lapped at your ankles. And Yinghua says, Lumira,
Please don't.
Lumira, please, you saved him. You saved Seir. You can save them too. Please. Please, Lumira, please, I'm begging you, please, just try. I know you can do it.
How does she say this to them? Genuinely, how? She just tried and failed. This is something that needs to happen. But Yinghe is the only person I have right now. Someone without hurt, without baggage, without pain. We have the most pure relationship we could possibly have right now. He's putting all of his trust in me right now, and I know I can't do it. I can heal the body. I can do nothing about the soul. So, you tell me, how am I supposed to respond to this right now?
You have no other recourse. They're looking at you with so much hope, desperation, begging, a pleading expression. You feel their shaking hands on your wrists as they gently, quietly, desperately try to guide you to the body.
Her hands are shaking. Because once again, this is going to be her failing someone she cares about. So she tries. She's tired. She doesn't have anything left in her. Just earlier that night, she told Zynon she couldn't even do it. And every bit of energy that she had, she expended trying to protect Sayir from his worst self-sabotage. So she does. She's able to heal the wound. She's able to close them. But she refuses to make eye contact with Yinghe when she feels him staring at her, waiting for the stranger's eyes to flutter open. And they don't.
Ymira, returning to the craft of your liminal after you have exhausted yourself with 3 failed attempts to vault, feels both like pushing your body to its absolute limit and a strange reprieve, a relief, a craft you know so well. And it is exactly as you say. The physical wounds seal up. The blood reverses into the body. The bruising recedes. And you know what will be wrong. You know what will happen next, what will not happen next. The stranger does not gasp back to life. Their eyelids do not flutter, color does not return to their cheeks. And you know why. As a healer of the Syndicate, you are well versed in the components of mortality, body, mind, soul. The body is intact now. Your magic ensures that much. The mind, well, the brain was not damaged in this struggle, but the soul, that necessary final component of mortal life, the soul is gone, was gone as soon as the heart stopped beating, and you know where it went. The same place that long-lost memory fell out of. Above your head, the black hole looms, its gravity pulling at you even from this distance, the size of a dinner plate now. And here, in a world that has forsaken fate, with the weight of mortal choices, the soul of the stranger goes nowhere. And there is nothing you can do about it. Yinghe looks down at this body, hands shaking, and as you also take in the unmoving form of this stranger, you see a peace, a kind of serenity come over their form. No more blood, no more bleeding, no more horrible, brutal, vicious wounds through their heart. It almost looks like they're asleep. And in seeing this peaceful form, this measure of calm you are able to bring in the aftermath of such a terrible tragedy. You smell for the first time on the wind amidst the empty dust and the desiccated world of Keseki. Just a hint of cherry blossoms. You feel her. And you know, Lumira, it is a truth you know as well as you know Seir, the truth of his other half. This is what she would have done. This is what she would have wanted. To smooth over the rough edges of such a brutality. Not to disguise what had happened or shirk away from it, but to bring peace to everyone around this flickering flame. To her brother, her mirror image who is so full of pain and shame and also the capacity for change. To her mentor, the ghost who saw in her own eyes a reflection of everyone he has ever loved. To the other chosen one, whom she never got to befriend, who feels the weight of her shadow in every shade he commands. To you, her soulmate, whom she will love beyond the end of time. And to the stranger, whose soul now joins hers in the endless darkness of oblivion. End.
I think in that moment of peace, Lumira will hand Yinghe a napkin or a cloth. You can use this to get the blood off you. I'm so sorry. And I think she scrambled up.
Yinghe takes the cloth from you, wordlessly, looking down at the body, knowing what is not possible now. Their entire body begins to tremble, like an autumn leaf caught in an early winter breeze, and they shake their head, and they say, I can't be here right now. I want to go home. I want to go home. And you see shadows collecting around where they are kneeling, tendrils of shade wrapping around the lower parts of their body, up around the trunk of their form, wrapping around their arms, their wrists, and covering their head until they are nothing but a silhouette cut out of darkness. And you see the silhouette try to sink into shadow, as you have seen it done many times before, how Yinghe travels between worlds, using darkness itself as a rope from which she can swing from plane to plane, place to place. But she doesn't. The tendrils of shadow tremble around her, keep her there. You see an attempt to sink, to go, to do something she has always been able to do, similar to how you have been always able to command time, draw upon your liminals. She also tries to pull on her calling, but it doesn't work. And the shadows drop from her body, splash around her, return to their original places, and she looks up instantly at the culprit that you both know is responsible. The force, the gravity, keeping the Shadow Mage tethered here. The inescapable event horizon of the black hole that not light, not even the absence of light can run from. Oblivion.
I'm so sorry.
And Yinghe collapses into tears. Zynon. On the perimeter of camp, you walk to the edges of where the flickering light of the campfire produces warmth. You look into the long, dusty darkness of the canyon around you. The crenellations of craggy walls, places where water once carved their hands into a surface, now only there in the gouges they leave behind. You hear no birds, you hear no insects. There is nothing alive here but you. Not even you. And the rest of your team. You see no footsteps. No signs that there's anyone else. No glint of a blade or a rifle in the dark, bouncing off of dusty starlight. You smell nothing and no one but yourselves.
That would have been easier. It would have been easier if Sayre had just gotten the first punch in. And he rolls around this fury. How does he even walk back? There is nothing. And he stands in this soft and loving memory that he had, that he was falling asleep to. Finally happy. Here in this place. Content for just a second here. But he would be more comfortable standing in the shoes of the man in the dust. The one who in the autumn killed without remorse. It would make this easier. But he stands there in that memory, in that vision, in that clarity. And all he can hear is a very inconvenient phrase. Inconvenient for his anger, at least. Your vicious is my viciousness. Your blood is my blood. And what the fuck did she mean by that? How could my viciousness? Now that's an easy answer. I am mortal. And Sayre, and that ember begins to dwindle. Because as he thinks through his viciousness belonging to Artemis, Sayre's viciousness, Lumira's, he sees the sunset over the wild sea on Sayre's face, lost and looking for answers, wondering what to do with the power Eregnus promised him. He sees the pain on the face of a young boy blossoming in spring with brightness, reaching for a gun. No. Reaching with an olive branch in the White Forge in the City of Heaven to his mentor. And Zynon is standing in a field, not in his own shoes, but in the shoes of Ija, holding the gun, holding the shield. And he looks over his shoulder unwittingly back at the camp, sees the shadows fall off of Yinka's body, and finally looks at Sayre. And in that moment, in the wild sea, he realizes something. He realizes something about the moment he just walked away from. He has no idea if Sayre hates himself, but what he does know is that he was looking in a mirror. He's always been looking in a mirror, unfortunately for Sayre. It's why he doesn't look at him. Zynon can put his markings on in the dark with no mirror at all because he doesn't much care for himself. And suddenly, not just the last few months, even when Sing was still around, Zynon sees an arm's distance that he's kept from Sayre, not just because Artemis said that she would take care of them, but because he knew the violence in Sayre's heart when they met, from before they even knew each other. And in that moment, Zynon put a mirror where there should have been a young man.
Sinan, on the perimeter of camp, as you look back toward the fire, observing this young man's shoulders, the clenched fists, the revelations playing across his face. And as you look at Sayir, you can feel the boots of your Ima around your feet. And you see your own desperate look reflected on his face. Your look from the dust, and from the summer, and from the spring. Because yes, it is so hard to look at a mirror when you don't like what's looking back at you. And in those bright blue eyes of his, you'd seen yourself over and over again, and it was painful. And you pushed him away. And by pushing him away, you pushed yourself away. And in this moment, on the edges of camp, you know this now. He needs you, Zynon. Sayir needs you.
And in his arms, he holds baby Doxa, baby Lumira, baby Sing. But he sets them down with love and cradles close baby Seer as he lets his feet take him back towards camp.
Zynon, as you return to camp, you come just in time to also see, along with the rest of your strike team, the stranger's body beginning to flake into dust, just as the cave skipper had, starting with the edges of their form, and Sayir looking down at this body as it begins to disintegrate. What is the oath you make to yourself?
As Sayir, now, not some other time, now, looks upon the stranger as the wounds close up from Lumira's magic. Signs of his brutality smoothed over, granting a peace that he could not. Sayir stares with great intensity at this person. This person. Don't even know their name. I don't know who they are. I don't know why they were here for. Maybe food? I look at their satchels, at their robes, whatever that's left. Whatever they wanted, we could have just shared. It would be thin, it would have been hard. We could have done that. I could have done that. And there's nothing I can do to take this moment back. What I can't do. Sayir stares at this person, committing every inch of them to memory, etching into his mind every detail of their form, the look of their eyes before death took them, the feeling of their breath as they left their lungs impaled by his own antlers, their face. Sorry I did this to you. Sorry I did this to you. I won't forget. I will never, ever forget the rest of my days until oblivion takes me to forget.
Sayir, you sear the stranger's likeness into your mind. The way their light green skin gleams in the firelight. The faded crescent markings underneath each eye. the respirator that hangs around their neck, their hair, dark and emerald and streaked with dust, their irises, blue like yours, but darker and grayer, like a moody ocean. You burn their likeness into your memory as the edges of their form begin to crumble into dust. And now, more of them dissipates into these gray flakes, the particles beginning to float up, 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 toward the obscured night sky where the stars cannot be seen, but where that halo of darkness always looms. And only you, Zain and Ash, see the silhouette that the dust makes briefly as though catching on something that wasn't there, before it whisks away upward toward oblivion. You see, for a fragment of a second, the outline of the stranger, with their tousled hair and jacket and boots, looking down at their own body, and then their head lifts, and they're looking at you, and they see you, seeing them.
And a voice of thousands of voices echoes back in Zainan's heart. A voice with a name he doesn't know. But all the same, part of that resounding yes that makes his feet move, that beats his heart. And he would ask them 1,000 questions that he never asked Kesiki. But it's too late.
The stranger lifts their head toward the sky. Their hand reaches upward toward that black hole as though taking the palm of an old friend. The wind comes, and they're gone. And we're gonna go to break there. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this first half of the episode so far. We are going to we're going to take a 5 to 10 minute break or so, and when we are done, we will be back. Stay tuned in the meantime for word from our sponsors and whatnot, and we will see you all soon. Transplay nerds, it is, once again, sponsor Connie time. Arc 4 is proudly sponsored by Hero Forge, a website where you can design and print your very own custom miniatures. But you already knew that, didn't you? Because the spectacular Hero Forge has sponsored us every single arc so far. We've stuck together through all sorts of exciting updates, like Hero Forge Pro, statuettes, color printed plastic, premium plastic, but now, it's time. It's time for one of the most exciting Hero Forge updates ever. Custom dice. Hero Forge is now offering 3D printed custom dice, where you can put literally anything into the clear material of the die. Each die is printed in the same layers as the item or character bust inside of it, resulting in a solid, perfectly weighted chunk of math rock. You decide the size, color, and shape of your die, the size and color of the numbers on top, and, of course, what the die contains.
Put a frog in it.
Don't die-lay. Visit bit.ly/transforge to design your very own custom miniature or custom dice today. Hello, Transplay nerds. You know what time it is. Sponsor Connie time. For Arc 4, we're collaborating with the Working Families Party, who are building a multiracial coalition of working class people to make our communities a better place to live for everyone. You might be thinking, why does a political party care about a queer tabletop show? As it turns out, the Working Families Party believes in the power of fandom to effect positive political change in the real world. So do we. As a Transplay nerd, you're no stranger to just how political our show can be and how our stories are never just fiction. In fact, let's take an action together right now by signing a petition by the Working Families Party to break up big media companies. This cause means a lot to us personally as indie actual play performers fighting censorship, telling authentic stories, and resisting authoritarianism. Go to bit.ly/WFPtrans and add your name to the list. By signing this petition, you will join the Working Families Party's mailing list and receive opportunities to help them organize, educate, and fundraise. So let's build a better future together. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Chaos Protocol, our Arc 4 midpoint stream. We are in the back half of it now. We're just going to get right into it. Just as a reminder, as always, the Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy actual play series that deals with content that may be triggering for some viewers. So content warnings for this session include fantasy violence, grief, death of loved ones, killing, blood, body horror, complex relationships, survival and scarcity, environmental collapse, apocalypse, guns as weaponry, and references to classism and the loss of children. If you're in the Twitch chat, you can use !CW at any time to get a look at our content warnings. And if you're in the YouTube live, our incredible mods will be copy and pasting these content warnings in the chat, so you can always look there if you need a reminder. And like any midpoint episode stream, they tend to be really intense and very dramatic and lots of things happening. So please take care of yourselves in the ways that you need. The VOD will always be here for later viewing if need be. We love you all. Okay. And with that out of the way, let's begin. From a young age, Samishi Erebor understood the power of heat. As an 8-year-old, she enjoyed the warmth of Keseki's triple suns on her shoulders as she frolicked in the purple fields of Shuten. As a 28-year-old, she hiked the peaks of the Centipede by herself in high summer, a hard-won concession from Buta for their honeymoon. And now, as a 58-year-old, Samishi stands on the observation deck in a huge, sweltering room carved from metal and stone. Her body is wrapped in the familiar thermoplastics and heavy-duty neoprene rubbers of industrial-grade personal protective equipment as she squints through thick goggles at the fusion reactor core chugging and straining inside its vertical coffin. When Buta acquired the Emperor-class G384 Nomad 4, it had only been manufactured 39 times in Zuma Corps' history, given the strenuous material engineering and maintenance demands. But Buta would have nothing less. Only the best for the Lord of Keseki, this resource-rich jewel of the Apis Fuyumi system. Buta was accustomed to being courted by even sector lords, showered with priceless gifts, including his personal favorite, a Cavalier-class fighter jet. He loved that jet more than anything else in the world. Its sleek black hull bore his family's emblem, a fanged boar, jagged peaks, triple suns. On the observation deck, Samishi considers the physics of the X-9400 Reaper S fusion reactor core groaning and sputtering before her. Inside the heavily shielded chassis, over 270 million degrees of heat, 3 times hotter than the core of all 3 suns of Keseki combined, burn and burn within a roiling stew pot of tenuous plasma, agitating deuterium and tritium into a constant violent embrace. As these isotopes fuse, incredible amounts of kinetic energy explode outward, absorbed by the magnetic fields of the tokamak in the form of heat. Coolant circulating throughout the walls of this vessel captures and disperses this heat, expelling it as steam through a complex series of turbines and alternators, which in turn creates electricity. Power. The physics are simple. Childish even, in a literal sense, for Samishi. As that frolicking 8-year-old, she had doodled blueprints of a modular stellarator as a frivolous thought experiment. But despite the simplicity of the chemical reactions happening before her eyes, there is an equally simple and infinitely impossible barrier that she has tried and failed to overcome these past 10 years. This, of course, was the question of coolant, the mundane but necessary middleman between raw energy and mechanical function. Buta had not given a single damn about the physics that powered his beloved jet. But the physics gave a damn about him, about Keseki, about the entirety of the Apis Fuyumi system. Trillions and trillions in credits and gold, hundreds and thousands and millions of lives, generations upon generations of time, all poured into the pursuit of the most powerful technologies of the galaxy: fusion, fission, antimatter, warp drives, only to accomplish, at its very core, the ability to more efficiently boil fucking water. And the water was running out. Samishi Erebor knew the odds. On the one hand, there was the seemingly inevitable causal march of Kaseki toward depletion and desiccation, impelled by horrendous greed and exploitation, a march that Fuyumi's best and brightest could not solve because there was no financial incentive to do so, because death made money and life did not. On the other hand, there was her. She never backed down, even when the odds were impossible. Especially when the odds were impossible. Here, at the end of the world, looking at a problem that not even the gods had the power to solve. Samishi's mind turned. She was going to save Kaseki. She would not die trying. Before the drought, the Isthmus of Chisare was a dazzling sight to behold. During high tide, brackish waves submerged this narrow strip of land, transforming it into a sandy reef. It was a place where two oceans met: the cold, vast blue waters of the Kagayaku to the west, and the green, glowing turquoise waves of the Naku to the east. Fish swarmed and teemed, razorback taru leapt through spraying waves, and crabbers trod the shallows for loam and catch. During low tide, the waters receded, and the isthmus rose proudly and warmly, beckoning travelers to cross its sabulous shores. You could tell who passed based on the tracks in its silt, the long vertical marks of scooters and wagons, the sharp wounds of raptor talons, the gentle prongs of elk and goats and sheep. But despite the grandeur of the isthmus, most travelers preferred the sky bridge. Thousands of feet into the air, a marvel of architecture gleamed under the light of the triple suns. A masterful construction of wood, rope, carbon fiber, and glass that spanned over 100 miles to connect Okinawa to the north with Hose-Kote to the south. It was held aloft by massive pillars of colorful adobe, each one painted in neon colors that glowed in the long dark and were a tourist attraction in and of themselves. In fact, one of the most famous vistas of central Kaseki was the Sky Bridge of Chisare and its vibrant, shining pillars, a testament to the ingenuity and artistry of the land and her people. The Sky Bridge collapsed a long time ago, before the last of the water went away. It was the storms that felled it, stronger than monsoon winds, battering and battering until glass shattered, until the adobe cracked and eroded, until the pillars bent to their knees and crumbled. 4 days after the worst decision of Sayer's life, Drakefly Canyon spits your party out into the Isthmus of Chisare. Once upon a time, Drakefly Run tumbled dozens and dozens of feet into the boundary waters below, forming a magnificent rapids that caught rainbows at dusk and dawn. Now, in the absence of the Kagayaku Ocean to the west and the Naku Ocean to the east, all that remains of the isthmus is a long, elevated tract of cracked and dry earth surrounded by similarly desiccated land. For a week and a half, your party hikes down this narrow channel, heading dutifully south toward the prefecture of Hose-Kote. On either side of you, the corpse of the once mighty Skybridge is scattered along the entire length of the isthmus, banked along its craggy ridges or kneeling farther away, like exiled knights. Twisted chunks of steel, reams upon reams of broken glass, shredded strings of hempen rope jut out from massive mounds of dust. You see other detritus too, beached ships with nowhere left to go. Water towers turned on their sides, empty drums packed with dust and filth. Random scraps of plastic, tarp, canvas. As your strike team journeys south, we pull in on each of you throughout the week. Let's start with you, Zynon. How do you journey across this isthmus?
Zynon fills the shoes of a bulwark, making camp, forging forward when he can. But unlike the last 3 weeks, in fact, unlike our entire time here on Keseki, Zynon does it while looking back to Lumira, to Yinka, and even to Seir. He takes his time. There is distance between he and Seir. Even packing up the next morning from that camp, Zynon still barely spoke to him. But before they started even walking, he set the oracle on Seir. Not to spy, per se, but so that Seir had someone to talk to. Someone to remind him that he had to put one foot in front of the other. Because Zynon still feels that ember burn. He still has to learn a lesson or two before he can really have that conversation with Seir. But were he in Seir's shoes, and he has been, he wishes someone had done this for him. Not left him alone. Through no fault of the people that loved him, Zynon found himself alone in these moments. And so he sends the oracle. He does check on Lumira. And he can't stop watching after Yinghe, remembering Tada's shadows fall off of them. He knows them very well. And there is guilt mixed in with all of the other complicated feelings, but no relationship that Zynon Esh has ever had has been uncomplicated. Even going back to his parents. They were hardworking and dedicated, but sometimes there were sacrifices that meant that he had to not have them there, or do what he was told when he really didn't want to, when even they didn't want him to. And his polycule, his partners, they fought like hellions. But at the end of the day, they closed the door on the Lodestar, and they were only alone together. They only had each other in a lot of ways. And they were raising a kid. And she came first. And even Naeem, hell, Castell, and everyone that he's ever been with in our adventures together as Nova. All of those are messy. So he doesn't really think of the complications as unusual or difficult. It's what it means to know people. At least it's what it means to know Zynon Esh. And honestly, he wouldn't change it. His jaw still hurts from getting punched. And he still loves Dom. So...
Yes, Zynon. You are very well versed in the art of bad decisions. And you know how deeply the cost can cut, whether it's broken ribs, or buckshot to the leg, or Piera screaming at you at the top of her lungs that she hates you and hates you and hates you, or Dom punching you in the jaw so many times, or Azel walking out of that door and you never seeing them again. You know how it feels to live with the consequences of your actions, to die by the consequences of your actions as you had. The hardest part had always been doing it alone. You send the Oracle off to Sayir. You see him these next few days, these next week and a half, walking as you assume the role of bulwark, as you take lead on camp, on scouting, on mapping your route. And you know he has Lumira. And perhaps he has Yinghe too, or will after they're able to work through this. Does he have you?
He's... Zynon works his way slowly towards that. And it doesn't begin with a heartfelt conversation. It begins with instructions. Move this, put that down there. Not out of meanness, but Zynon wants to offer Sayir the one thing that, despite their best efforts, his parents, his lovers, hell, even Artemis, couldn't really instill in him. Which is that if you don't have those barriers that stop you from doing things like that, maybe you should make some. So, the place he starts is not with Sayir at all. Because what he knows is that he has actually set down some barriers. Because people he loves asked him to. So, he starts by going to Yinghe and just asking how he's doing.
Ever since the stranger's death, the only person Yinghe has really been interacting with has been Lumira. She has reached for her hand. They have leaned on her shoulder. Ta has rested Ta's head in her lap after making camp. And you have seen, Zynon, that Yinghe this past week and a half has been noticeably subdued, much quieter than usual, silent even. Even with Lumira, they only really offer one-word answers, shrugs, or a distant, faded expression that looks painfully at home on their face. It is a look you have only seen them wear once before, in a crumbled temple full of deadly shadows drawn from your own body. How do you approach them?
Zynon almost always leads, especially conversations that he knows will be awkward, with a gesture first. I think he just brings them food. But with that, he extends the hand. And cuts out any casualness in the gesture. Sorry you're stuck with us.
Yinghe accepts the canned food from your grasp. A scavenged spoon digging into the metal. They don't look up when you say that, they just nod.
But, for what it's worth, I'm real glad you're here.
The nodding gets a little faster.
And Zynon sits, not directly next to them, but nearby. How you holding up?
The nodding stops. Yinghe gets very still. And then, after a long silence, you hear a noise. Metal tapping against metal. The spoon jittering against the can as their hands start to shake. And then their wrists and arms, then their whole body trembling. They gently set down the food and they begin to weep. into their hands.
Hey. Zidon gets closer. It's alright. It's been
And
a hard one.
wordlessly, Yinghe turns to face you, and they bury their head into your shoulder.
And Zidon pulls him gently and realizes this is the first time in a long time that they've even really touched. And he feels the distance that they built between them. It shrinks.
Lumira. As the days pass into yet another week and a half out of the canyon into the isthmus, how do you travel? What's going through your mind, and how does it come out in your actions?
I think it really starts right back that night, trying and failing to protect Zaire from himself, trying and failing to save Yinghe that hurt. I think then is when she made the decision to be the lighthouse in the foggy marina. So she offered Zaire a cloth to clean himself, to get some rest. And that is how she operates. Lumira is complicated, but she is pretty one note in her processing. Either she does or she doesn't. And right now, I think her easy way out is being who she always has been. Just herself. So, as usual, she does her medical rounds, making sure that everyone is clean and as best as they can be and safe. No infections, no soreness. And that's how she fills her days. Away from looking up in the sky at the seed she knows she brought closer, trying to fix things. She doesn't say anything. What good would that do now? So she keeps a brave face during the day, being there for anyone and everyone and anyone who will have her in the moment. Even Zaire, I think there's quite a bit of time that we spend together where nothing is really said. She just sits there with you, nudging you a bit so that you know that her presence is there, but she leaves the ball directly in your court. When you are ready, she will be there. But at night she tosses and turns with these dreams, these reliving of that moment over and over again. Fate's words, she's not enough, over and over again, and she weeps. She weeps for Sayir. I don't think there's a person on this planet that she knows better than him. Honestly, I don't even think she knew Sing as well as she knows Sayir. She knows what this is going to do, what this is doing to him. She would lay on 1,000 swords, bring Oblivion closer 7 million times if it meant that he never, ever had to deal with this weight on his soul. Because I think she knows just how pure it was. It still is. She knows it's there. She can see it. She knows him. Just like she knows herself. Or she thinks she knows herself. So she continues to be any and everything that Nova needs of her right now. She's not just Sayir's beacon. She's Yunhe's. She's Zainan's. And I think deep, deep down inside, she knows she's being a beacon for herself as well in this. So to answer your question, she is exactly who she has always been and will continue to be. The essence of the starlight that she is made of.
And it is starlight that brings you your deepest relief, your warmest comfort on those bitter nights when you're tossing and turning under the canvas flaps of your tent, tortured by the memory. But whenever your eyes go up, yes, there is that large, yawning black hole, but there are also stars now, obscured by the dust, and something about starlight just resonates with you. And despite the complication, yes, despite the pain you feel because you know the pain that this brings, Sayir, there is also that memory. The memory of your mother's voice, which tastes so sweet in your mouth, like fruit. This memory, it holds you warmly, is a constant companion to you, even through the scorching days, even through the bitter nights of travel. And your mother's name, it is so soft, so grounding, and you know in your heart of hearts that nothing can ever take this memory away from you again. Her name resounds confidently and assuredly within you, helping to keep the flame of your beacon lit. Fola Shade Oluwole Ashinyobi. And every time you begin to doubt your decision, that creeping uncertainty about what if you just vaulted 7 million times, what if you just brought Oblivion here to remove the pain from Sayir, you remember your mother's words. That this too is a rebirth. That you must look it in its face even if it drips with blood. That you must live with it in your hands. Eyes and wings and teeth and all. And something about it feels so right to you, this concept of rebirth. You, Lumira, constantly remaking yourself the way you have always been, in a brand new form, with a brand new voice. But even through these iterations of yourself, they tap within a seed of truth that has always been inside your soul, that not even the bindings of fate could remove. And as the week continues, yes, you do your medical checkups with each member of Nova, Sayir especially, as usual. And though you have a lack of provisions and resources are scarce, it has been over a month since all of you started traveling. And time, Lumira, as you well know, is a healer in its own right. So thanks to your consistent checkups, as well as the passage of time, each member of Nova can now remove one harm. Yourself included, Lumira. And now Sayir. As the week goes on, as the days turn from bright, scorching warmth to cold, bitter night, how do you travel across the Isthmus of Cesare? What thoughts roil across your mind, and how do you express them in action?
The night where he made the worst mistake of his life. He committed a mortal sin. Sayre returned to his tent that suffocated him before and found only silence as he sees the abandoned sibling on his bedroll. Patience. The gift that he abandoned in his reactivity. The price of which he knows now. Another sibling, a half of a whole, and yet he too turned his back on her. Turned his back on him. And as Sayre returns to the tent and kneels before Patience, staring at the gleaming metal and what light remains in this fate-forsaken place, he picks Patience up by blade and by handle, as if cradling a small child. I abandoned you. I turned my back on you for the sake of wrong reactivity. Not even violence. Just never again. He grips the handle. I will always have a hand for you in everything I do. I will be still and patient, even when violence requires me to act. I will always have a hand for you. This will be the last and only time I will turn my back on you ever again. And Sayre does. He keeps his oath as they prepare the gear in their first exit from this place. Sayre sits in silence, not in avoidance of Nova. He's present. He is there in conversation. He nudges back weaker, but he does when Lumira nudges him. He holds every second of a gaze Yinghe would throw in his direction. And Zynon, he pays attention to every movement, every word unspoken, every choice made and not made, with where he is concerned. And with one hand around Patience, Sayre is mostly silent, not to avoid Nova, not to avoid himself. But this journey is now a pilgrimage for him, a meditation for his sin, for what he has done, for what he must do, what he will do, for his transformation and change. He does not know for what or how. Only that it has to be different. And for that, he has to look inward, to a place he hasn't looked in decades. And so, Sayer does not play the bulwark, but he is watchful. Where Zynon surges forward, Sayer sets back. He watches the backs of Nova. He looks at Kaseki. Really looks. Not at the fear and shadow of danger, of annihilation, but for every grain of dust, every ruined outpost, for every shard of what once lived here, for the hole that was once holding water, life. Savior, finally, at Kaseki.
As the week continues, Seer, your oath to patience, to yourself, burning deep within your soul. In this moment of long overdue reflection, in this journey that is also a crucible, you think about the person you killed, the stranger, their face that you committed to memory, your artist's mind, promising your tender and emotive soul that it will never forget every single detail. The dark emerald hair, the slate blue eyes, light green skin, pink crescent-shaped markings. You do not know their name, who they were, how they survived here, whether they were alone, whether they still had friends or loved ones. You do not know these things about them, and you never will. And you sit with that, you walk with it. You turn this knowledge over and over inside of you, in your hands, in your heart, in your head. You observe the backs of Nova's heads as well. You see the expressions that they turn toward you. And you hold a new reckoning within you now, a knowledge that these expressions, at times of pain and hurt, at times of understanding, empathy, gentleness, at times of anger and firmness, that these reactions are not about who you are, your worth, but what you did, what you chose to do.
What I chose to do.
What you will never choose again, as you have sworn to yourself.
Never again.
And there is a whirring, subdued, chirping, beeping noise also ever present around you. The Oracle. Spherical, droid-like, no longer hitching a ride in Lumira's pocket or in Zynon's satchel or in Yinghe's arms, so much as just rolling across the dusty earth of their own accord. At times lagging behind you, at times in front of you, beside you, but always generally around you. And like the rest of your strike team, the Oracle is somewhat subdued. They had been uncharacteristically quiet after the events of Tower 19, which perhaps at first you had counted a reprieve and relief, but now, maybe not so much. Now the Oracle is practically silent and does not badger you unless you speak to it first. And when you look at it, Sayer, and address it, you cannot help but think of the shattered pieces of the training Oracle from so many years ago.
Oracle.
Yes?
Aren't you tired?
I'm okay. I have solar power or something, I think.
Sayer crouches, his tail now relatively healthy. There's still slight bit of recovery that needs to happen, but it switches with some interest. His antlers glow a very dim lavender, looking at the oracle. And Sayer holds out a hand, looks at the oracle. You're going to follow me around. Then won't you at least want to be comfortable instead of rolling in the dust? I did just fix you.
And you see the oracle kind of spin in place, not moving forward or backward, but as though it were a bowling ball on a sheet of silk, just rotating endlessly in one position.
Oh, okay, but only if you really want to. I don't want to burden you or anything.
You are not a burden, Oracle.
It's just the other oracle in the tower. It was my sibling, and I'd never seen a sibling like that before. Not alive. And this whole time, it's been really hard not to feel the syndicate. Like we're alone here. It's just us. I can't feel them. I can't reach them. And
the slightly cracked lens rotates, refusing to look at you.
I never thought that I didn't know that you would. But then you did. So everything just feels.
I can and I did.
No.
I could and I did.
The eye pans up to look at you.
I did do that, Oracle, and I won't run away from it. And sometimes I now realize that you too turned back on your home for us. And you too just lost a sibling. Oracle. It's okay. And where I am concerned, I will not make that choice again.
The lens blinks and stares at you, that one red light pulsing. And then the oracle says,
Did you make the choice because of this place? Because Keseki is dead and scary?
No. I made the choice because I was scared. And I was scared. I felt so much brimming to burst, and I didn't know what to do with it. I thought I was protecting everyone. I thought I was protecting you and all of Nova from some terrible danger. But no, I just reacted. Like swatting something. A knee-jerk reaction. But I don't... One should not react that way.
the sphere bobs as though it's a head up and down. And the oracle says very seriously and firmly,
Well, I don't know what it's like to have a knee-jerk reaction on account of not having knees.
I
But-
think that would be terrifying if you ever did get one.
and for the first time in a long time, you hear the oracle snicker and laugh.
There we go. That's better.
Okay, carry me.
I won't put you in my pocket, okay?
Okay.
And Sayer holds out his palm his left palm as the oracle rolls onto the center of his palm. And Sayer literally just holds the oracle. Doesn't stuff it in a pocket, throw it in into his satchel. Doesn't shake it violently. He just holds it so gently. And whatever conversations they have. And Sayer feels a little bit more what he wants to be, even if he has no name for it.
Strike Team Nova. As your 5th week on Keseki draws to a close, the Isthmus of Chisare stretches in front of you and stretches behind you for as far as the eye can see. According to Zainan's map, you are about halfway across the strait with another 70 or 80 miles left to go. At this point, the suns are beginning to set. In another few hours, the dark will close in, bringing with it the terrible and thankless cold. On the eastern horizon, you notice something vast and stomach-churning. The distant billowing wall of a dust storm. By now, this sight is somewhat familiar, but no less fear-inducing. Based on its trajectory, it is headed due west, your direction, and will reach your location after dark. It would behoove you to find shelter, and soon. As your party observes the eastern sky and discusses what your next course of action should be, your conversation is interrupted by noticing something else in the atmosphere above your heads. Moving at a rapid speed high above you from north to south, from the direction you came in, is an object. At this distance, it looks like a dot in the dusty sky, hurtling across the horizon with purpose and direction, and as it approaches, it gets larger and larger and larger and larger until details become visible. Sleek wings, a gleaming body, an angular and pronged tail, and a cockpit tinted gold against a black chassis, the light of these triple suns reflecting off of bulletproof glass. A ship. Not a shuttle, it is not nearly large enough to leave the planet's atmosphere and launch itself into space. Even before the dust, it couldn't have done that. But it is a ship, and it zooms overhead, heading due south, the direction you're going as well. And in its wake, a huge gust of wind and dust kicks up around your party, and you hear the loud chugging whine of spinning propellers and powerful engines before it all fades, vanishing into the distance. What do you do?
I think, despite the probably hazard of doing this, Zainan stares open mouth at this thing passing over them in shock. He saw these in Haruna. This blooms where there has been an ember of anger and this deep concentration of healing. Inside, that sparkle, that light, that burning reflection of Mayday missions lights in his eyes. The dust storm is coming, but what are the chances? You'll see that!
What was that?
Maybe we can get to it before the storm.
Let's see who's on it. People.
People. Okay, yes. Let's go.
People.
And Strike Team Nova. You follow the ship south. There's no further question about it. Being careful, of course, to keep an eye on the eastern skies for the approaching dust storm, parallel to you now. And for 30 minutes, you move as quickly and carefully as you can until you finally see something on the southern horizon before your very eyes. It is the aircraft. It has touched down onto the ground, on the isthmus, as though it were a strip of tarmac. facing southeast, and there are people milling around it, doing something odd. To the east of the ship, where there was once water, where there was once the Naku Sea, you see a large outcropping of desiccated rocks. Maybe these rocks used to be coral once upon a time, or a reef, or simply a submerged marine landform now exposed for the world to see. Whatever it was, whatever it is now, no fewer than a half dozen people are buzzing around these rocks. They're swinging pickaxes to loosen them from their foundation. You can hear it because there's no other landforms to muffle the noise. A kind of distant dunk, dunk, dunk of the pickaxes, rolling them, the rocks, onto a cart, and then wheeling that cart full of rocks into the open cargo hold of the spacecraft nearby. And then they roll the empty cart back to the rocks as though it were a quarry, and they keep picking at it, keep mining, dunk, dunk, dunk. And your party is far away enough that, and these people are busy enough, that they haven't seen you yet. You do, however, notice one person presiding over the operations, presumably a leader of some kind, directing them with a booming voice. You can hear even from this distance, but the words aren't legible. And there's another person you see kind of standing off to one side, keeping watch. And as far as you can tell, every single one of these people is armed. You see guns, long rifles, and also smaller guns holstered to hips, things slung across backs, bandoliers full of bullets. What do you do?
I think before we get too close, Zynon just kind of motions Nova in. Now, I don't know if you noticed, most people here may or may not be the most friendly. And that was before the storm. We should probably approach carefully. But
yeah.
And he looks over his shoulder at the storm. They might be able to get us out of the way of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we could probably hitch a ride. If they're not, unfriendly.
I can't believe there's more people.
I can't believe they're mining.
What are they mining, Zai?
Is that like rock or?
Can
As
I
you all
tell
squint
anything
from
other
this
than rock?
distance- You can roll. Yeah, for sure you can roll. At this distance, I'm just going to tell you straight up, unless you are like a geologist or like already a scientist, without getting closer, you're not going to get anything except for just rocks. Yes, Lumira.
Oh no, I was raising my hand as a
Yeah.
scientist.
Yo, that's
Yeah.
true. You are? Yeah, that's true. Lumira would probably have the best guess at this distance. Would you like to close the gap, or are you all staying away? You're maybe like a eighth of a mile away from them.
I think Zynon and Lumira lock eyes, if you're alright with this.
Mm-hmm.
And he slings the rifle off of his shoulder because he knows you know how to spot with it.
Lumira, once you
Let's
slip
go.
the rifle off of your shoulder, she kind of looked wide-eyed for a second before immediately locking in, and she'll, with familiar ease at this point, settle it across herself, and much like, and you can hear her like repeating the steps that Zynon taught her, mumbling them out loud under her breath before she looks down the barrel of the scope. She likes
Okay.
looking down the scope. With one eye closed, she can just focus on what she needs to look at. And the outside periphery never makes its way into her line of view.
Perfect. Okay, as you lift the scope up to your eyes and everything just gets bigger underneath the rifle, I need you to make me a wit check to see if
Okay.
you could figure out what's happening with the rocks, with the people, what they're doing, any more information visually. I'm going to
Okay.
give you an extra d20 from harnessing a relevant tool because you're using the scope. You do not have situational advantage, and aside from the scope, no other character is actively assisting you, so it's just going to be 2d20.
I have archaeology. Can I use that?
You know what? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that's 3d20. Go for it.
Cool.
You're trying to beat a 12.
As
under.
this is happening, Sayer puts Oracle on his shoulder and goes, "At the first sign of trouble, you roll into my pocket. You got it? Good."
Okay, got it. Magnify. Enhance. Just kidding, I don't have a zoom lens.
I thought you were going to be useful for a second. Okay.
That'll be 2 successes.
That's great, actually. Okay, Lumira, as you peer through the scope, the first thing you notice is that these people who are working swinging pickaxes, they don't look like they're miners. They don't have hard hats on. They don't have like a typical kind of mining gear. They just kind of look like scavengers, survivors. They're dressed in the same mishmashed assemblages of scavenged cloth, fabric, and scrap that all of you are. But they're swinging pickaxes, and you notice that the pickaxes all differ in size and condition, as though these tools were also scavenged or harvested from somewhere else. And they're all working really diligently. Like, they seem to know each other quite well and are talking and moving quite seamlessly. As for the rocks themselves, they're gray, bleached rocks. As they get cracked open and lodged from their foundations and rolled up, you see kind of a few veins in the sides of some of these rocks that look like maybe carved in from where water might have seeped in, kind of like dry clay, almost like dry clay. And there's something evocative of the ghost of liquid about these rocks as they start rolling them onto these carts. That is what you get with 2 successes. Oh, also with 2 successes, would you like to swing the scope over and look at the leader and the lookout? Okay, so you swing the scope over and you notice the leader, this man, tall, broad-shouldered, kind of just directing people around. He's got this long, dark blue hair that's braided down his back and reaches his tailbone, and this hair is shaved on the sides. And his skin is this light blue, lighter than his hair, and he has a short-cropped beard around his mouth, these black scleras, and bright yellow irises that almost glow like a cat's. And just like most of his crew, he wears a respirator over his jaw, and also a set of goggles over his face to protect against the dust. You do notice that everyone here who's wearing respirators and goggles, this personal protective equipment looks quite well maintained. Actually, it looks really nice. Like a few of them look like they've been repaired, but very well. And this leader doesn't have a huge rifle or a big gun or whatever, but he does have a revolver sitting on his hip. And the lookout, kind of off to the side, is a woman. She's quite tall as well, muscular. She is draped in frayed linens and cloth, and you see these durable wrist wraps protecting their forearms, and glowing hazel eyes behind a set of goggles as well. Short black hair, medium brown skin, white neon markings all over their face and exposed skin. And they have a thick scarf around their nose and mouth. And they are carrying the largest gun, kind of just not pointing it at anyone, but just resting, ready to go in case they need to. A pulse rifle. It looks militaristic, almost like very advanced, kind of across both of her hands. Kind of just resting, and she's looking around.
Okay. I think while Lumira is looking this out, you kind of see her go back and forth across the field at them before she drops it. So, one in charge that we need to speak to. Tall, blue, fabulous long braid. The rocks, there's something about them, like they're water adjacent. They might be being used for something, but every last one of them are armed to the teeth. Especially the blue overseer and some other woman with probably the biggest gun out of all of them. Dark gray skin. And I think she is like verbatim giving you a verbal description of exactly everything that she saw to the T.
So they're a well put together outfit.
Yeah.
All right.
Not to mention the respirators. don't look like they've seen much wear and tear. And most, they're super well maintained. So they have resources somewhere.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, well, we should figure out what we got that we can offer. But, and Zidon looks to Seer. Doesn't look at a mask named Sing. Doesn't look at a mirror. But he looks to the young person that he knows is capable of being imposing, being stalwart and present. Want to be my muscle?
Sure, but and Sayer looks at them and then looks at us, and he has a hand on Patience. And his hand grazes over the metal at the top of the hilt. We should just lead with the offer.
Of course.
We're just travelers.
I just want to... People like this, a little bit of strength might go a long way. Show that we're not just desperate.
Sayer eyes you so cautiously. Maybe for the first time, every other request, order, has been delivered without question. There's a question in Sayer's eye. And he just nods. I'll stand behind you. Hopefully talks just go smoothly, okay?
That's the goal.
Alright.
I trust you.
Thank you.
And though Zynon doesn't say it, he wouldn't ask if he didn't trust you to stand behind him. And he turns to walk towards the ship, fishing in his pockets, pulling out a respirator.
I assume, though, Sayer will be your muscle. Lumira, are you also coming with, or are you staying behind?
Okay, yeah. I will.
Okay, yeah.
I'll check on Yinghe one last time before I do, though.
Yes, Yinghe is nodding quietly as this conversation unfolds between Zynon and Sayer. He also seems open, very open to the idea of negotiating, perhaps even trading with these people. Though you do notice a kind of animal look on Yinghe's expression that looks at home there. A kind of almost a feral edge to their face, almost a resignation, as though there's a part of them that is preparing internally for the worst. They're hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. And you see in their silver eyes someone who is very used to the worst passing. Okay. All right, Lumira and I will be right behind you as well. We'll go together.
Yeah, we will.
Let's go,
I
Nova.
think maybe I'll fall into your pack. I don't know how they will feel about me as a droid. Maybe they will want
I
me,
agree.
but I do not. Or should yeah?
No, just stay in my pocket. I don't want them taking you.
Yes, because they might see me as a valuable resource. They might
Mhm.
want me because I am a hot commodity.
Yes. Yes, you are. Now get in my pocket.
Okay.
And the oracle rolls down from your shoulder and drops perfectly into your pocket, like a billiard ball.
What I will do is lead with this, and Sayer, as we're walking, we'll start pulling out our protection resources. Things that will likely be of value to whatever outfit these group of people are, but not letting them too close to the rest of our much life needed resources. So I think Sayer is taking some of these like metal plates and like making a show of slinging it over his shoulder. One hand on Patience as well. He thinks to himself in this moment of previous choices past Sayer would make. Standing up straight, broad-shouldered, eyes sneering with the taste of violence. There are other ways of showing strength. I'll just carry some heavy equipment. That'll be enough. If they need more, I'll prove more. But not yet. Patience first. Patience always.
With that, Strike Team Nova, you approach this spacecraft, the people working by these rocks, the leader, the lookout, and when you're maybe just 100 or 200 feet away, the lookout spots your approach. I'm going to assume none of you are pointing your weapons, but rather kind of holding your hands up in a gesture of peace.
Zynon
Yes, okay.
raises one hand because he purposefully puts his mask on with the other.
Okay. The lookout kind of notices you first, and she makes a whistling noise that echoes across this empty space. And at that, everyone who was working by the rock stops working. They lower their pickaxes and raise their heads in your direction. And the leader turns as well to face you. And the leader, his hand doesn't go to his weapon, but you see a couple of people who are working with their pickaxes lower their pickaxes, maybe reach for their weapons, but none of them draw yet. They just place their hands on the holsters of their guns, their knives, their hatchets, whatever they might be. And the lookout, this woman with the huge pulse rifle, also doesn't lift the rifle at you, but she does tighten her grip on it and kind of square her shoulders to face your party. And the guy with the fabulous beard, as Lumira had pointed out, raises his head and directs his voice in your direction. Hey! What do you got there?
Stuff for trade if you got a ear for a deal.
He looks to the left, looks to the right, as though scanning your area to see if this is a trap. And then you see his eyes like pause on the eastern horizon where the dust storm has gotten closer. There's a bit more wind now blowing here. The suns are starting to reach the horizon. And then he looks back towards your party. Slowly. Hands where we can see him.
Now this is familiar for Zynonesh. Standing hip to hip with Pyrrha, walking into a viper's nest. People who have money and power and equipment beyond what they have. But what they didn't have then, well, they did have Dom and Azalis maybe doing some other part of this job. They did not have a chronologist, a shadow mage, and the son of doom with them. And Zynon walks up, peaceable, ready to actually negotiate. He did mean it. But the outlaw of Haruna Valley knows how to draw his weapon quickly. And he walks up open-palmed and all smiles.
That what you got for trade? He jerks his head toward the large metal plates on Sayer's back.
Yeah, we found a good haul. Looking to any motions to the dust storm. Maybe hop a ride.
A ride, huh? And those black scleras, bright yellow irises scan your group. We could maybe make that work. Depends, where are you headed?
Away from that, mostly. But, headed that way. Any motions towards the south?
The south, right, yeah. He sucks on his teeth that you can hear even through the respirator and says, "Sorry, that we can't do. We're headed that way." And he jerks his head in the exact opposite direction that you want to get to, northwest. But we've got
Gonna
some...
be a tough flight.
This spacecraft can make it, no problem. We've got a bit of buffer room before the storm hits. Listen, we have some, canned goods we can maybe trade for that, but if it's a ride you need, we're not going south.
Do any of you need medical attention?
Right now? No, my crew's actually doing quite well. We appreciate the offer, though. Where we're from, we're not really, in much want of medical attention.
Pretty well outfitted. What's, northeast for you, if you don't mind my asking?
The man pauses, not sure if he should share this information, but the woman behind him with the rifle raises her chin and says, It's the garden. And the man looks back at her with a sharp look, and then turns back to face you. Damn it, Stovall. Yeah, we've got a situation. Northwest, a place for good people. You know, people we know, people we trust, people who have
Of course.
proven themselves.
This garden growing anything green on this here spot of dust?
Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. But, listen. I don't know why you're heading south. I don't know what's waiting on the other side of this isthmus for you, but if you're interested, we could maybe talk about having you come with us to where we're from, to our home. But if that's the case, there are some rules here about how we vet newcomers.
Now. I ain't looking to join your garden club. Headed
Okay.
towards Haruna.
Haruna? What, the city?
Yeah. Yeah, but thereabouts.
That place has been tapped out for years now. There's nothing there waiting for you.
Yeah, well, call me a fool then. You can be down here at the bottom of the ocean mining rocks. I can go about my business.
All right, then. As the man starts to turn away from you, the woman steps forward and says, there's just death south, if that's where you're headed. This garden of ours, it's a commune of sorts. We can't take you to Haruna right now, but maybe if you came back with us, we could figure out a way to get you where you need to go.
We could
And mine-
outfit ourselves, Zayden. And Sarah says that very quietly. Like, we could restock, outfit, and we might make the journey back twice as fast. And less unprepared.
And Zynon looks over his shoulder, just glances at Sayer, not questioning this wisdom. But you see for the first time since we hit the signal tower, hunger. Hunger for whatever is in this garden. The man in the dust. Envying? No. Wanting to know how. He is very intrigued by this thought. But he looks to Lumira and Yinghe as well.
I think it's a solid plan. We do need provisions, we do need to restock, and by the looks of them, this garden is... They might have water there. They can grow things. I think it's worth the shot. Or, you know, we could be stuck out there. And Lumira nods her head towards the dust storm.
If there wasn't a storm headed our way, I would say we should just keep heading south. We've already made so much progress, but I don't know where we would shelter up. There haven't been caves or tunnels or anything like that for miles. And I don't think we can outrun the storm this time.
And there's the additional hope, Zai, that who you're looking for might have been there. This is a commune, there's a chance of information.
That's true. There's probably a lot of survivors that call that place home now. Ones that are left, that is.
And that song, the one that he heard from that spirit gone to oblivion now, echoes around Keseki, alive somewhere in this garden, perhaps. And he nods. So, what's your, what's this test? Prove our worth.
The man turns back to you. He had been kind of watching all of you kind of confer privately about this offer. And he says, well, in the interest of the safety of our community, I'm sure you'll understand, anyone that comes aboard one of our vessels, one of our spacecraft, you will, of course, be expected to hand over all of your weapons, all of your equipment, anything you might have on you, temporarily, of course, on your way to the garden. After you arrive, you will speak with Samishi directly, unarmed, to ensure her safety and ours. If she agrees to accept you, you will have the opportunity to stay, you will get your things back, and you will be onboarded to the commune. If you are not accepted by Samishi, you will get your things back, you will be politely escorted out of the garden and sent along your way with a few provisions.
That name. Does Zaynen know a Samishi?
How closely would Zaynen follow the politics of Keseki? Or how aware would he
Not
be?
even a little. Not even a little.
Okay, then I don't think the name Samishi rings a bell for you.
Okay. And Zaynen feels this gnawing in his gut. Call it a hunch. Or maybe it's just fear. Because he doesn't want to put his Ema's rifle in someone else's hand, and here it really is his Ema's rifle. But if it's shelter, and if Nova thinks it's a good idea, ooh, he's gonna try and listen. He's gonna try. All right. We are interested in seeing your garden and meeting your Samishi.
All right then. Why don't each of you come closer and hold out your weapons, and you can place them on the ground between us.
And Zaynen will go first. He takes his Ema's rifle off his shoulder. He takes the scope off of it, puts it in his bag. And then he pauses, a long pause, because he knows what he would call a weapon. And he knows what's stuck in his boot. And if the gun was hard, this feels impossible. As he sees the patron saint of mortals cut a shard of oblivion and a thread of fate from their own hand and weave it with his soul into this knife. And he draws the knife. And he goes to lay it in the dirt.
Appreciate your honesty with that boot knife. The rest of you as well, we would also appreciate your honesty. It's a nice piece of work you got there. Single action?
Sure is.
And
Flock tender.
The man lets out a low, appreciative whistle at your rifle. And you see him kind of nodding at it. He understands the work that went into the craftsmanship of it. Yinghe, who doesn't have a weapon on them, just kind of takes random bits and bobs that they've scavenged throughout travel and places them on the ground and just kind of raises their hands. Though they do cast a sideways glance at Lumira, as everyone here knows what Yinghe is capable of without a formal weapon. Sayir, do you lay patience on the ground? You're muted.
You're muted.
I can now speak. He has to, because he holds patience on a bandolier, harnessed around his body. Everyone can see he's wielding a moon knife. And so Sayir unsheaths patience, looks over to it, and quietly whispers to her, I'll be back for you. It'll be for a short moment. And puts down his blade patience right next to Zinan's.
As you go ahead.
Lumira drops to one knee, dig into the side of her boot to get her trusty boot knife. She sticks it, blade first, into the dust right in front of her, as well as reaching into her coat, medical scalpel. Does like a little show and sticks it blade first into it, puts her hands up and steps back. Noticeably
nods
does
at
not
you.
remove her pocket watch.
Yeah. This man nods at you, nods at the knife, at the medical scalpel, gives you kind of like a ascertaining look. A doctor, huh? You know, we could always use more. Two things happen at the same time. First, a loud noise. A bang. And then, as he's talking to you and looking at you, Lumira, the light vanishes from this man's eyes as his right temple explodes, and he drops to the ground like a sack of rocks.
Get down!
Silence hits the dirt.
I think
So
it
does
takes
Cook.
Lumira a second, of complete and total shock. I think time slows for her a bit as the viscera from that shot kind of sprays across her face, and she's kind of stunned into shocked for a second. And I think it's like a slow warb off and behind her periphery of Sayir's get down before she actually does drop.
There's a bang, 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 more bangs all around you now. Bullets ripping out of the dust that now thickens and surrounds you from the oncoming storm. People shouting by the rocks, screaming, dropping to the ground as well as they're ducking for cover or as they're getting hit, or both. And the winds howl and the dust blows in and the storm from the east begins to descend as everything devolves into chaos. And we're going to end the session there. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Arc 4 episodes 15 and 16, the midpoint of the arc. Let's do some much-deserved introductions, starting with Valiant Dorian.
Hello everyone, my name is Valiant. Love wins, Dorian. And I use he, him, his pronouns. You can find me all across the internet at Valiant Dorian or at Otso Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure I just set you on. And tonight, I had the distinct pleasure of playing Sayir. Uses he, they pronouns. And yeah, I'm going to pass it on over to Kai.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kai. You can find me everywhere as Estelle Van Ladris. It has been a singular joy and maybe a little bit of strange satisfaction in the growth of Mr. Zynanesh tonight. And I will bounce it on over to our terrified... Honestly, I'm more afraid of the scalpel than the knife. From Lumira.
You should be. She's a master at it. Hi, everyone. I am Sam Star. Once again, she, they, and the occasional Fae pronouns, playing our favoriteest baby girl, Lumira. You can catch me all across the interwebs, most specifically where the butterflies do fly blue, at Lust for Life X, LUSTTFORLIFEX. Damn, that was one fucking hell of an episode, Connie. Take us on home, boss.
It's me taking us on home, boss.
Oh, with that, we are back to our regularly scheduled programming for Chaos. That was our incredible midpoint stream. Thank you all so much for joining us. And please join us again, most likely next week, Saturday, March 14th at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, right here on Twitch and YouTube Live for the next installment of the Chaos Protocol. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Arc 4 stream, our midpoint. And I cannot wait for you all to learn more about the plot, the capital P plot, the capital N narrative, the capital S story. In the meantime, you can support our show by joining our Patreon, joining and participating in our Discord server, making fan works if you are so inspired, posting about Transplanar RPG on Blue Sky, Instagram, or Tumblr, rating our podcast, buying merch from our merch store, and most importantly, telling someone else about the channel, whether it is your friends, your family, your homophobic homoerotic enemy, your barista.
Yeah, I mean, you can also. This is a good story. You can indeed also tell your homophobic friends and family to. Maybe this could change them. I don't know.
Not like this.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
This could change them, but tell them to keep their opinions away from us and don't talk to me.
Oh yeah, no. Tell them to
talk to me,
shove
don't
their
look at me.
opinions. Tell them to shove it immediately, very deeply. But if you're moved, let me know. If not,
if it's anything
yourself.
except for undying praise, get out of
Right.
here. Tell your dog, your cat, your snake, your frog, your oracle, your horse, your parakeet. Thank you all so much, Transplaners. We will see you next Saturday, March 14th at 8 p.m. US Eastern Time. And in the meantime, Bijo, we're gonna rate someone really awesome right now. Go send the love to them. Bye!